Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey.
2017 has been a great year for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin rose around 20 times and it finally got some recognition in mainstream financial media. Actually, Bitcoin was second in Google Trends.
Well, this cryptocurrency craze is in full swing. The value of a Bitcoin jumping to almost, very briefly, $20,000 this week before falling back down to about $14,000 for one Bitcoin. This year, Bitcoin is up more than 1,700%.
Bitcoin was second in trending global news. We got to see the first crypto unicorn, Coinbase, which is digital currency exchange. And unicorn means startup with $1 billion valuation or more. And all of this made some very notable and experienced people crypto enthusiasts, like hedge fund managers or venture capitalists. And the industry has created its own leaders, like Vitalik Buterin, who made digital currency Ethereum, which has second biggest market capitalization after Bitcoin, and Charlie Lee, who made Litecoin. But still, it's no secret that there is enormous skepticism about cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, despite the fact that nearly all major companies in the world have already started working on blockchain, the technology Bitcoin is based on.
I could care less about Bitcoin. I don't know why I said anything about it. The blockchain is a technology, which is a good technology. We actually use it. It will be used for a lot of different things. God bless the blockchain.
The asset itself is creating nothing.
I think it's a scumball activity.
I would short it if there was an easy way to do it.
So there you have it.
So most of the time, Bitcoin is called financial bubble. Very often, it's compared to Tulip Mania, which occurred in Dutch Republic in 17th century. First of all, I think we should clarify what a financial bubble is. To say it short, people get irrational with certain asset, so they buy it thinking the price will keep on rising. But all of this happens while the real value of asset is already inflated. So this guy, economist Hyman Minsky, was one of the first who created pattern of economic bubble, and surprisingly it's pretty consistent in general. So the first one is displacement. This happens when investors or public discover for the first time something they think will be much more valuable in the future. During Tulip Mania, it was tulips. During dot-com bubble, it was internet company stocks. During 2008 financial crisis, it was houses. 17th century is known as Dutch Golden Era. Dutch Republic was rich and powerful. It was trading powerhouse. They had a lot of wealthy merchants who imported tulips from Asia. It took tulips 10 years to grow, and they were beautiful. But after some time, it got some kind of a virus, which made it even harder to grow and even more beautiful. So it made it even more scarce, thus more expensive. So second place is called boom. This is when things actually start to heat up. During this period, tulips became symbol of power and wealth. Prices were rising, so more people got interested with tulips. More interest caused even higher prices, which in turn made interest much bigger. The third phase is called euphoria. This is when people are most irrational. This is when people speculate most, when they think that missing an opportunity will be a shame. And this is when a parallel with Bitcoin comes in. On December 17, Chicago Mercantile Exchange launched Bitcoin futures contracts.
Futures on futures, so you're at that stage right now where it's not that there's anything wrong with trading futures, but here's the bottom line, is that it's going to be very hard to short these things for a long time. So when you short something, you eventually have to buy it back, right? And that creates more buying. So you have this skyrocketing demand, very little supply. But then, at a certain point, something will happen. There'll be either regulation will pass, something will go wrong, and all of a sudden the sentiment will change, and it is going to drop so hard and fast. So that's on Bitcoin. The bigger danger, I think, personally, is that every day I see 3 or 4 new offerings of Bitcoin number 3. This will be better than Bitcoin. You'll get rich overnight. And like just today in the CNN makeup room, the person, very nice lady, she's talking about Bitcoin. So this is the classic example, like in 2007, when you were doing a mortgage market, right? Your hair cutter was also a mortgage broker all of a sudden. So everybody's jumping on the bandwagon.
Like oil or bread. And when even average person suddenly becomes financial expert, you already know that there is enormous herd mentality in the air. In fact, it was said by Joe Kennedy, father of John Fitzgerald Kennedy, that when the shoeshine boy have tips, the stock market is too popular for its own good. And I know a lot of people around me who are investing a lot of money in cryptos and they don't even understand technology. They don't even understand the basics of crypto economy. They're investing money just for speculation, just because somebody told them so. This painting was made 3 years after the bubble burst. I will put the link in the description and you can check it out. It's satirical painting and it's great. So, fifth one, you have probably guessed, that's panic. It's a real slaughter. Prices start to crash. There is no control, and people watching price fall start to panic even more, and they start selling, which crashes price even more. The problem is that we don't have recorded price data, and this price index was created by Earl Thompson, but he had no data between February 9 and May the 1st. Biggest source of information for us is book written by Scottish journalist Charles Mackay. The book's name is Extraordinary Popular Delusions and the Madness of Crowds. It's maybe the first book about behavioral economics. The problem is that it was written 200 years after the bubble. My point here is that comparing Tulip Mania to Bitcoin is wrong, because we don't fully know what happened 400 years ago. We just don't have enough information. And there is enormous difference between tulips and Bitcoin. Money in general should have 3 main functions. First of all, it should be used as a medium of exchange. We know tulips were expensive, but people did not use it as a medium of exchange. On the other hand, Bitcoin can be used by your average Joe. Also, tulips can't be used to store the value. This means you can't carry it around for a couple of days, I guess, but you can't keep tulip bulbs for years. I guess you could do that with seeds, but even in that case, it's horrible, and it can easily be damaged. We can say that Bitcoin has a big problem with security too, after a couple of exchanges got hacked, but it's still way ahead in that case. Dividing tulip bulb is an absolute nightmare when Bitcoin can be easily divided. Anything has a value when we accept that it has a value, and it's clear. There was no way tulips could have been used as currency, and they could not even have been used as an asset, since they don't have any kind of a practical use. So what's most interesting is that market crashed because of bubonic plague. It's Harlem, it's Dutch city, where buyers did not appear on auction because of a bubonic plague. We could easily compare that to hacking of Mt. Gox. Hacking of Mt. Gox caused the price of Bitcoin to crash. So whatever you think about Bitcoin, there are 2 things clear. There is enormous irrationality, which by the way often leads to bubbles, but also there is a chance of new financial system where central banks will not be able to print and devalue the money endlessly. Bitcoin was created around 2008, after 2008 financial crisis, and it was not meant to casually integrate into the system. It was meant to destroy it. But Bitcoin and any other cryptocurrency have to solve many technological problems, which I won't talk about. Here you can see how dollar actually lost its value over the time. So if Bitcoin is bubble right now, we have yet to see the last phase. What's interesting for me is that price of Bitcoin and searches in Google about Bitcoin correlate with each other. This means as price of Bitcoin was rising, more people became heavily interested with it. and as more people got interested, prices were rising even more. As price started to fall, suddenly that interest was gone. So it reminds me of second and third phase, and we can see some parallels between Tulip Mania and Bitcoin in that sense. It's clear there is enormous speculation with Bitcoin. Lots of people think they are gonna buy some coins, just sit around and make a lot of money. But as the prices starts to fall, that confidence, which was based on illusion, is gone.
So guys, I want to tell you something. Faith and belief is the one thing that we all need to be able to change the world. And right now I believe that in this room we have the seed that's going to germinate and that's going to explode into an amazing opportunity for us to change this entire world.
There is a catch. Bitcoin had a couple of crashes already. During 90s, dot-com bubble crashed, but the most expensive companies right now are tech-based. So even if Bitcoin crashes right now, this will not be the end. Actually, Bitcoin was the most searched in Google when its price was highest and the futures contracts were implemented. This was around December 17. Here is the correlation I was talking about. Now, I don't think Dutch had anything close to Google back then, but I think interest by public was highest when the price was highest and futures contracts were introduced. So every bubble starts by insane irrationality. While I don't know if Bitcoin is bubble or not, I can clearly say that while there are parallels, comparing to Tulip Mania is wrong. Even the fact that Tulip Mania was so local, while Bitcoin has so many followers from different cultures, should be more than enough. So that's a conclusion. Bitcoin can be a bubble or not, but unlike tulips, it has use and it brought some technological advancement. So thank you very much for watching. If you have feedback, just write it in comments. I know you have because the video was not perfect. It's actually the first time I did something like this. But please subscribe to my channel because the quality will be improved over time and I will make videos about very interesting topics.